But the four lands are one single land, just as the three bodies are one single body. Now, I highlighted this before, so this must be important. Now, with this Lotus Sutra, these three bodies and four kinds of lands blend together in harmony to form the virtue of a single Buddha, known as the Buddha of tranquil light. Have you heard of that Buddha before? Okay, that is the Buddha you are. You are the Buddha of tranquil light. The Buddha of tranquil light functions as the Buddha of the perfect teaching. And the Buddha of the perfect teaching is the true Buddha of the state of wakefulness. The Buddhas of the other three lands are provisional Buddhas in a dream realm. Did you guys hear that? Should I say it again? I think I should, because it needs to really sink in, because this is one of the meat and potatoes, because we're on the second to last page of the Gosho, so he's getting down to the real nitty gritty. Okay, now, with the Lotus Sutra, these three bodies and four kinds of lands blend together in harmony to form the virtue of a single Buddha, known as the Buddha of tranquil light. That is you and me, baby. The Buddha of tranquil light functions as the Buddha of the perfect teaching, and the Buddha of the perfect teaching is the true Buddha of the state of awakefulness. Are you awake? The Buddhas of the other three lands are provisional Buddhas in the dream realm. So the Buddha Shakyamuni, the Buddha Nichiren, the Buddha, whatever one you want to take out, you want to say the Buddha in the future, those are all provisional Buddhas. The real Buddha is the one when you look in the mirror, or look in the Gohonzon, which is a mirror, and that's the true Buddha. This is the declaration proclaimed in identical words by the Buddhas of the three existences regarding the overall classification of the teachings. No one can say a word against it. So this was all in the Lotus Sutra, before the ceremony there, and in the ceremony there. All the Buddhas came up, and they all attested to this fact right here. No one can say a word against it. No one can try to interpret it to mean anything else. Anyone who goes against this declaration is guilty of the grave crime of turning against the Buddhas of the three existences. Such persons are the heavenly devil or non-Buddhists. Because persons, if they do so, will be turning against the Buddhist law for all time, this teaching must be kept secret and not revealed to others. Okay, so at the time that this was expounded, when he said, I finally declared my mission, he specifically wrote here, do not share this with other people. Why did he do that? So, he gave it to Nikko Shonin, he gave it to Nichimoku Shonin, and his top disciples, and said, don't share it with other people. That doesn't mean don't share it now. That at that time, Japan was in a feudal state, and there wasn't democracy. Although there isn't democracy now, I'm in Japan, but anyway, there's at least the pretense of it within the Constitution and the idea we're going to move up into someday when we graduate into our full potential. But at that time, there was all this rankism, and there's still complete rankism in Japan. Even the language, you have to either speak up to people or you have to speak down to them. There's no speaking equals in Japanese language, so it's a language that doesn't have a way of having democracy. So the only way they're going to ever have equality is to just throw out all the aisatsus and all the what do you call it? I forget what it's called. All the superior and inferior, what they call kohai down and senpai up, total mindset of them. Everything's this hierarchical structure. So that's why at that time he says, don't reveal this to other people. It wasn't the time. If it is not kept secret, but is recklessly made known, then people will fail to have a true understanding of the principles of the Buddhist law, and in their present and future existence will cease to receive divine protection. If persons appear who slander the law, they will be turning their backs on the Buddhas of the three existences, and both Both those who reveal the secret teaching and those to whom they are revealed will fall into the evil path of existence. So, at this time, if I was to reveal this to someone who wasn't ready for it, I would also be guilty of helping them slander it, because they would go, "What are you talking about? I'm a Buddha. You're a Buddha. We're all Buddhas. What are you talking about?" Because they put Nichiren on the pedestal after he died. They put Shakyamuni on a higher pedestal, and that's totally against everything in the Buddhist teachings. If you go to the final teachings of the Lotus Sutra, it says, "I made a vow to make all people equal to me with no distinctions." No distinctions is no classifications of up and down. It's all even. It's all complete equality, egalitarianism. Okay, but that time it couldn't be understood in Japanese, because Japanese were very, very into Rankism. They're still very into Rankism. So this whole idea that there's a Gohonzon better than another Gohonzon is complete Rankism, which is totally against Buddhist teachings. Okay, where am I? Okay, because I know that this is what will happen, I issue this warning. Therefore, one must take great care to guard these secret teachings and gain a true understanding of these principles. Doing so, one will be acting in accord with the original intention of the Buddhas of the three existences, and therefore will enjoy the protection of the two sages and the two heavenly deities and the 10 demon daughters, and without hindrance attain the highest level of rebirth in the land of tranquil light, because you will be a Buddha of tranquil light. Then in no time one will return to the dream realm of the 9 worlds, and the realm of birth and death will cause one's body to pervade the lands of the entire phenomenal realm of the 10 directions, and will cause one's mind to enter into the bodies of all sentient beings, encouraging them from within, leading and guiding them from without, inner and outer, complementing one another, causes and conditions functioning in harmony, and in this way will utilize the pity and compassion of one's freely exercised transcendental powers to bestow unhindered benefit upon living beings far and wide. Wow. Okay, so this is what I do on my radio program twice a week. I step into being the Buddha from time without beginning. I claim, own, and acknowledge that. And then I use the supernatural powers of the Thus Come One, which we all have, which this Gosha talks about, which is the ability to, with one's mind, penetrate all phenomena. Which means if someone has a sickness, penetrate that phenomena, find out what's going to change it, and change it with one's mind. So, here we go. The last page and a half. The Buddhas of the three existences make their appearance in the world because they bear in mind the one great reason, or one great affair. The word one represents the truth of the middle way, the Lotus Sutra. The word great represents the truth of non-substantiality, the Flower Garland Sutra. The word affair represents the truth of temporary existence, the Agama, Correct and Equal, and Wisdom Sutras. So these earlier sutras are dealing with the temporary existence. The later Flower Garland is non-substantiality, which in Japanese is ku. And the Lotus Sutra was the middle way, which is temporary existence, which is physical existence, spiritual existence, which is non-substantial, and the middle way, which is the entity of both nature and appearance, which are the two other ways. These three constitute the unity of the three truths as expounded in the teaching of the Buddha's lifetime. When one wakens to and comes to understand this, then one can attain the goal of Buddhahood. Hence, this constitutes the fulfillment of the original intention for which the Buddhas appear in the world, the direct road to the attainment of Buddhahood by living beings. The reason for which they appear consists of causes and conditions. This is 2 of the 10 factors of life. The causes are the unity of the 3 truths that exist, eternal and unchanging, within the bodies of all living beings. So, once again, he says the 3 bodies of the Buddha are existing within all living beings. The 3 truths is the 3 bodies of the Buddha. It's the same thing. Eternally, the truths exist, eternal and unchanging. So they were, eternal means from the infinite past to the infinite future, eternity. There's just a circular figure 8 that never ends. It's like a Mobius strip of reality. There's no beginning or end. All is oneness. Okay. Where was I? Here we go. But although the 3 inherent causes... No, I'm going to go back a little further. The causes are the unity of the 3 truths that exist, eternal and unchanging, within the bodies of all living beings. Hence, they are referred to collectively as causes. But although the 3 inherent causes, or potentials, of the Buddha nature are possessed by all beings, if such beings do not encounter the right conditions by meeting a good friend or teacher, then they will not become awakened. They will not understand. Their Buddha nature will not manifest itself. So this is talking about mentor-disciple relationship. You have to have a good teacher that connects you in, which if you guys don't have a mentor, then, hey, if you're listening to this and you're digging on what I'm saying, that I'm acting as a mentor, you're acting as a disciple in this case. There's many different relationships you can have, mentor-disciple relationship, with many teachers in many fields. I have many mentors in my life. You can listen to my YouTube video, who is one of my main mentors, Daishonin, and why he's that. So is Nichiren, so is the historical Buddha Gautama, a.k.a. Shakyamuni, a.k.a. Siddhartha, a.k.a. No, I don't want to go into that. Anyway, all is oneness, so you can call it anything you want. You can call him Santa Claus if you want. It's still all oneness. If they encounter the necessary conditions by meeting a good friend, however, then their Buddha nature will invariably become manifest. Hence, such meetings are referred to as conditions. So, just like you can have love in your heart, but unless you have another person or another thing to feel love about, it's really hard to manifest that. So, if you were living all by yourself on an island, there was even no other animals or anything like that, I guess you can fall in love with a tree or a bush, I guess. But it would be easier if you can feel that condition, because it's an inherent cause, and you need an external cause to bring it out. So that's what this is basically saying. Everything, all feelings, all enlightenment's the same way. But now, if these 5 components, 1 great affair, causes and conditions, come together harmoniously, and one fulfills the difficult to fulfill condition of encountering a good friend, then what could possibly hinder the manifestation of the 5 aspects of Buddha nature? When spring comes and conditions of wind and rain prevail, then even the mindless plant and trees will all put forth buds, blossom in glory, and make their presence known to the world. And when autumn arrives, when its conditions of autumn moonlight, then plants and trees will all ripen and bear fruit. Then they will nourish all sentient beings, sustain their lives, bring them to maturity, and in the end manifests both the virtue and the function of Buddhahood. Can anyone doubt this? If even the mindless plants and trees can do so, how much truer should this be for human beings? So, all plants function within the world of Buddhahood too. They all go through the seasons and the cycles, and they all bloom forth when they're ready to bloom forth, when it's a time, and they all blossom at the time it's time to blossom. So now is the time within the latter day of the law when we're all meant to be Buddhas from time without beginning, because this is the blossoming time. Because the muddier the swamp, the more beautiful the lotus blossoms. So if you guys aren't realizing that this society is very muddy, with all the trash and junk going on, then, and you want it to get more muddy before you blossom, you can do that. But anyway, it's muddy enough for me. I'm ready to blossom. I am blossomed. Okay, so he says, how much more true is this for human beings? If the plants can do it without even having to think, they are consciousness, like everything is consciousness, but they don't sit there and go, should I do it now or should I wait another 100 years? Okay, though we are no more than ordinary mortals in the state of delusion, we have our own minds, our understanding. We can distinguish right from wrong and gauge what is timely. Because of karma accumulated in the past, we have been born in the land where the Buddhist law is propagated. So this is the final teachings of karma, is much different than the old school teachings of karma. Because here he's saying, because causes of karma accumulated in the past, we have been born in the land where the Buddhist law is propagated. So this is good karma. So old schools of Buddhism, Hinayana or lesser vehicle schools, say karma is just bad stuff. All the bad stuff you do, it accumulates, and you can, until you go through the shit in hell for many lifetimes, you can't get rid of all that shit that you created over all the millions of lifetimes. But in the final teachings, everything good you do is all creating great karma. So as long as you create more good karma than you create bad karma, you're going to get more good stuff than you're going to get bad stuff. It's very simple. Just cause and effect. Okay, so we are all born in this time because we created some incredible causes. That's why we are able to know right now we are Buddhas, and we don't have to wait, thousands and thousands of years like they had to do back in the middle and former day of the law, because it wasn't the time to expound that teaching. Okay, I'm drinking, I forget what tea it is, but it's just a tea that I muscle tested for before going to bed. My body wanted that. Maybe that'll allow me to fall asleep, not keep me up. Okay, if we can meet with a good friend, we will gain an understanding of causes and effects and attain Buddhahood. If we meet with a good friend, is there any reason why we should be inferior even to the plants and trees, remaining dumb and unresponding and failing to manifest the three inherent potentials of the Buddha nature that are within us? This time, without fail, we must wake from the dream realm of birth and death, return to the waking state of original enlightenment. So this is the time, right now, boys and girls, time to wake up, and sever the cords that bind us to birth and death. And from that time on, we will no longer entertain in our minds the Buddhist doctrine that pertain to the realm of dreams. So this whole idea that the Buddha is above us is the realm of dreams. If you put Shakyamuni on a pedestal, or Siddhartha, whatever you want to call him, I know there's people that think people call him Shakyamuni, why don't they call him Siddhartha? It doesn't really matter what you call him, because that's putting him on a pedestal and thinking he's above you, and that's not Buddhism. That's not his final teachings. Okay. So that's the realm of dreams. So if we're ready now to wake up to the realm of enlightenment, we will know that we are the Buddha from time without beginning. We will join in harmony with the single mind of the Buddhas of the three existences, carry out the practices of Myoho Renge-kyo, and without any obstruction attain enlightenment. For the distinction between the two teachings, those that pertain to the Buddha's enlightenment and those that pertain to the instruction and conversion of others, is as clear as though reflected in a mirror. It is just it is just as stated in the declaration of the Buddhas of the three existences. Keep this matter secret. Keep this matter secret. He says that twice at the end. Okay. Nichiren. The 10th month of the 7th year of Koan era, which is 1279. Okay, but whether it's really 1279 or 1278, it's around the same time when he said, I completed my mission in this life. And this is what I think he's referring to. And the other one I'm going to read next, which is a letter to Misawa. Let me just read the background, since I'm feeling good, and I haven't done an installment for so many months. The reason I haven't is because you guys haven't been commenting enough. You haven't been liking enough. You haven't been sharing enough. So I have so many other videos on my YouTube page that are getting so much more hits, so much more comments, so much more shares, and added to people's playlists. So of course I'm spending more time on the ones that are getting more attention. So if people show me that they're interested in this kind of stuff, I'll do more of these. But if not, I just, I'm looking at what's on YouTube and what are people talking about. The people are talking about some crazy shit out there. One of them is the flat earth theory. Have you guys heard about this? Okay, so I made 2 videos of the flat earth theory so far. I was going to make another one today, but the sun wasn't out because I was going to test some of the theories that they say, which you need the sun bright to do it. Anyway, go check those out because they just crack me up. Anyway, I put those up. That day I had 99 views. I've never had a video except, what was his name? I had a healer come on to my show, Rudy Hunter. I think within a couple days, he had like 300 or 400 hits. That was the only time I ever had 300 or 400 hits in a couple days. I think he's had 1,000 within a week. And that's so far my record. 1 week, 1 video. So you see my spike. All my hits are going up like this over the last 3 years, and it's going up pretty high. But one day it went pew like that and came back down, and then it's doing this. And that was the one I put up, Rudy Hunter. That's why I decided to do more of those type of videos, because those are having big hits. And then, now that I just put up these 2 videos, my doubt of this whole flat earth theory, and those got 99 hits in one day, and the second one I did, question and answers on it, got another almost 100 hits in one day. I'm going to do some more of those videos because those are getting more hits than this. So please tell me what you like by commenting below, by subscribing, by clicking the like, clicking the share. You can share it on all your different, it shows all that when you push share, you'll get Facebook, Twitter, all those different things you can share it on. So please help me out. Share it if this is what you want me to do more of. Okay, so I'm going to read the background. This work is generally recognized as having been written at Minobu in the 10th month of 1279. I drove by Minobu. Going from Kofu Eki, I played in Yamanashi. You go down the river, down, I think it's called the Fuji River, and you see Mount Fuji on one side, and you see Mount Minobu on the other side. And then you drive to Shizuoka, and I played at Shizuoka Station. And it was pretty cool to be in his last part of his life. He was there. But its recipient is unknown. So who he wrote it to, they don't know. It is also referred to by its abbreviated title, the Unanimous Declaration by the Buddhas of the Three Existences, or the Unanimous Declaration. The title, in effect, summarizes the contents. It indicates in essence that all Buddhas throughout all time have deeply considered and declared the manner in which the teachings of Buddhism must be classified, affirming which teaching are to be rejected and which upheld as effective for the attainment of Buddhahood. Nichiren Daishonin applies a classification to the entire body of Shakyamuni's Buddha's teachings that divides them into 2 categories: those teachings pertaining to the instruction and conversion of others, and those pertaining to the Buddha's own enlightenment. The Japanese term for these two categories is Jigyo, literally self-practice, and Keta, Jigyo-Keta, instruction and conversion of others. Okay, these terms are interpreted differently when applied to religious practice and when applied to the Buddhist teachings. When applied to practice, Jigyo means practice for oneself. Buddhist practice for the purpose of achieving one's own enlightenment, and Keta means practice for others. Altruistic practice aimed at helping others to attain enlightenment. But when applied to the Buddhist teachings, Jigyo refers to the Buddhist teachings that pertain to his own enlightenment, while Keta refers to the teaching of the Buddha expounded in accord with the capacity of the person to lead them to the true teaching of enlightenment. Okay, in the system of classification referred to in this work, the teachings pertaining to the instruction and conversion of others are identified as expedient means, or the provisional teachings that Shakyamuni set forth prior to the Lotus Sutra. The teachings pertaining to the Buddha's enlightenment refer to the true teaching or the teachings of the Lotus Sutra. The declaration of the Buddhas of the three existences of past, present, and future is that the expedient teaching expounded for the instruction and conversion of others should be abandoned, and the Lotus Sutra, the teaching that directly reveals the Buddha's own enlightenment, should be upheld. So the only time the previous teachings should be taught is in the first 1,000 year and the second 1,000 years, which we call the the former and middle day of the law. That's what they were taught for. And he said, in the fifth 500 years after I die, they will be Bodhisattva Jogyo, which is Nichiren Daishonin, who will be able to reveal the true teaching, which the Lotus Sutra totally expounded, but it's just, for most people, if they don't understand that they're a Buddha, they can't really understand it. But once you read it from the point of view of reading the Gosho, and then you go back and read it, the sutra's so obvious. It's all people are equal, all people are Buddhas from time without beginning. It says it over and over in the sutra. And I read 3 different translations: the Kern translation, the Threefold Lotus Sutra, which I forget the person who translated that one, and the Burton Watson translation of just the Lotus Sutra. So I read all 3 of those, and they all come at it at a little bit different. There's a little bit different meaning in the translation, but they all pretty much say the same thing, that we're all Buddhas from time without beginning, and this is the time to realize that and know it. I have them all on my Kindle. I got them all free online. You can search out. They're on different websites. You can download it on PDF and send it to your Kindle. I even, after I read them all, I listened to them all while I was working out, because you can get your Kindle to read it to you, and it butchers a lot of the names because it doesn't know how to pronounce those old Indian names. So, but anyway, once you know what the names are, you don't really care if they pronounce it right or wrong. Okay, I put that also, some of my reading of the Lotus Sutra from my Kindle up online, and a lot of people didn't like that, so I stopped doing that. I can put more up if you like it, but just I kind of try to go with what everyone likes, more of what you like, and comment on. The Daishonin describes the declaration referred to in the title as the collection of passages